Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah. So I am Shubhangi from Persistent Systems, and I have been sitting in this conference yesterday and today. Today I am almost sticking to this track because so many good speakers and lot of good stuff has been talked about, and this is an emerging area. So it was really very interesting to sit through this session today. One thing which I really thought and felt good about is lot of people across the industry, almost all of them are thinking on the similar lines, right? And they are also experiencing the same things. They are trying out same things and experiencing the same things. Lot of perspectives are coming out, but it really felt good to see that similar things are happening in the industry. So the topic is from classroom to blended learning. And again, there would be some repeats, and I will briefly touch upon the classroom to blended learning concepts and talk about the things that we do at Persistent for blended learning. So classroom learning definitely is instructor led. We know that it is traditional and widely accepted and used form of learning. Our whole schooling has happened in the classroom fashion. So we think about classroom learning as something which is isolated, focused environment where the teacher is transferring knowledge to the students. It's live, it's kind of formal learning, and it's interactive also. With an expert teacher it could become interactive. So a lot of interaction can happen between the student and the teacher, as well as there could be some group discussions happening among the students. And that's why it can become spontaneous. The learning can or the teaching can get adjusted based on the level of the students, the interest of the students. If a topic is complicated and the students cannot understand it, teacher can put more stress on it. Lot of experiences are shared by the teacher. So that makes it colorful. Lot of contents are available on the internet, in the books. Everywhere you can find lot of contents. But what makes the classroom learning special is the experiences shared by the teacher or the perspectives of that person. So that makes it colorful, right? And then there are certain forms of courses which are best suited for classroom learning, right? So if we think that on one side of the line there is classroom live learning, instructor-led learning, the other side of the line would be e-learning, which is self-paced. Now in classroom learning, we think that it's synchronous, right? So we think that the entire class is, learning together. There is no allowance for different pace in the learning, right? Everyone has to learn together the same concept. Whereas in e-learning, it is flexible. Person can take a break, come back, go back to the important topics again and again, and then learn. So it is completely self-paced. It can be anytime, anywhere. It's asynchronous obviously because the students can learn on their own pace. Now they can also work on more complicated problems which cannot be possible in the classroom learning, right? Because they can spend time on their own in that learning process and work on complicated problems. For e-learning, it is cost effective after the initial investment, because there is huge initial investment. Especially if you are making the contents, also preparing the contents, then there is time investment also. So for new technologies and all, preparing the e-learning content will take time, right? Now in e-learning, it is assumed that the student is highly motivated, because if he doesn't find the motivation towards the e-learning, or if he is disinterested, he will just leave the learning phase, right? So he can also procrastinate. If it's not urgent or important right now, he will always say that I'll learn it tomorrow. So there has to be student motivation. Also some maturity is required, because a lot of contents you can put it in the e-learning, but then the student independently on his own may not be able to absorb it. He needs some instructor or someone to teach him. There are some concepts like that. So for those kind of things, e-learning may not be useful. So the next logical step everyone would think would be the blended learning. So we want someone to teach us important difficult concepts or hold the hands when we are stuck. We need instructor help whenever needed. We want to do in-depth analysis, in-depth problem solving also. So we need some time for the self to do the in-depth problem solving. It has to be self-paced. Now more and more people think that I want to learn at my own pace. Why I have to synchronize with other 50 people to come to the class at the same time and learn. I need to get perspectives from different instructors, different people, different experiences, rather than just monologue between one teacher and the students. So it has to be flexible, the content should be available, accessible. Again, it should be cost effective, hands-on experiments should be there and so on. So all this actually lead to the blended learning. So why blended learning is not actually a question, rather why not blended learning, we can think about that way. So again, what we are blending, the mixture would consist of some classroom learning, some instructor-led part, some e-learning, some group study, some part of assessment and so on. And then the mix is completely customized. So the person who is preparing the blend would decide that. So one person may decide on a completely different blend than the other instructor, right? And it also will depend upon the topic. Now blended learning is not a new concept at all. So 10 years back also you can see that they were talking about blended learning as one of the top 10 trends which were upcoming. Still we are talking about blended learning. Now the difference is there is a lot of technological advances which have happened, and now blended learning has got an entire new flavor, because a lot of things are happening in the e-learning, social, mobile learning and so on, which are actually useful in the blended learning. So in previously 10 years back e-learning was at some stage where certain characteristics were there, but now it has actually spanned across so many things that the blended learning also is going to a different dimension. So generally when we are thinking of designing a blend, we should first analyze whether the topic or the course is relevant or is making sense to blend, right? And then we divide the course into different components and then attach each component to a particular method, right? So some part will be instructor-led, some part will be video recording of the instructor, some part will be given for group assignments and so on. So that's how the blended learning is created. And then we actually run a POC and then start applying that blended learning. So having said this, at Persistent we are actually continuously experimenting to do different things. Persistent is a technology focused company with around 7,000 people, and we are IT product outsourced company. So the organizational outlook is always continuous competency improvement, because so many advances happen in our field continuously. So the field is dynamic. So continuous competency improvement of all the employees should happen. We have multiple locations, so training should happen at multiple locations. We require mass trainings quite often for capacity building, for basic trainings. So that requires effective knowledge management system also, where the knowledge is kept at some central place and it is accessible to all people. Since we are working in such a dynamic field, new technologies are to be learned and new technology trainings also need to be offered. And of course there is an angle for the L&D budget. Now from the employee point of view, if you think, employees are always looking for career growth, they are looking for new challenges, new projects, learning new technologies. And nowadays, it has been discussed today also, everyone wants to learn with ease. Right? They want multiple choices, multiple options. They want it anytime, anywhere at their own pace. They want quick access to the learning material. They don't want to spend a lot of time to search for learning material. And then they want a personalized learning plan. So at Persistent University, what we are trying to do is meet both the ends and both the aspirations. So the learning model at Persistent, we are offering multiple choices. So we have lot of instructor-led trainings. So we have designed a competency map and designed role-based contents or role-based trainings for each of the roles. Now for each training, we have instructor-led training and we have self-learning material. Self-learning material they can learn at any time, and then we offer weekly self-learning tests which they can appear for, so that we can validate that they have learned the same contents, similar contents on their own as they would have learned in the class. Then we have blended instructor-led learning. So some courses we have started offering, instead of the instructor going in the class for 8 hours, we show them the text and give them their own time to study, give them pre-study material. They come in the class, they watch the video, and then they have interactions with the instructor where they can ask queries, instructor can help them in the hands-on and so on. So it's an instructor-led blended learning. Now in any blended learning, actually we can't just assign different owners. There has to be one owner from end to end. Then it works really best according to our experience, because each piece actually needs to be tracked well, because the student should not just wait. Even though we have given them reading material, they should not just think that I will not read it right now, when the instructor comes in front, I will ask him. Then that instructor time gets added. So we need to actually balance all these things, and that's why there should be one owner, end-to-end owner, right? Now there is massive online learning also. We have recently started 2 quarters back. So lot of buzz is happening around the MOOCs, massive open online learning, and the educational institutes and the industry is talking about that. Then there are universities which are opening their Coursera and then edX, they are opening their courses for masses. So the idea is to learn online on your own and with the experts, and then there will be quizzes and assignments and everything will be learned online, and masses will learn the same thing. So that is the idea. So now this is the global concept. What we have done is we have localized it for our own environment, and we have started offering the courses from 2 quarters now. We have really seen a very good traction in this particular area. So thousands of people are actually registering for these courses. Then for each course, for each role-based training, we have the assessment. So we have self-learning, we have instructor-led courses, we have self-learning tests, and we have also the assessment. The assessments are actually day-long assessments. I'll just skip this. So the assessments are actually again coming in lot of flavors. So we have internal certifications which are happening day-long, objective and hands-on tests, and they are offered quarterly. We have post-course tests after every in-class training. We have self-learning tests. Then some tests we just offer on weekly basis as practice tests. So people don't have any penalty for that. So by the way, all this together we actually have constructed one credit point system. So the idea is a person should earn credit points. So by way of attending trainings or taking assessment or taking self-learning tests, they can earn credits. And then there is a credit point requirement which they should fulfill for the career progression. So then that's how people have choices, but then people should do it. That's the idea. So this is about massive online courses I just talked about. So what we have done is, we have started the courses on a nugget basis. So each course is divided into 8 to 10 nuggets, and each nugget is offered on every Friday. So one nugget is offered on every Friday along with the assignments and quizzes. So thousands of people register for one course, and they are given 1 week's time to study the nugget and solve the quiz and assignment and submit it online. And then the next nugget appears next Friday, and so on. the course gets completed in 2.5 to 3 months. There is again online post-course test. So lot of excitement and lot of interest is happening in this particular area. So we are also offering virtual labs. So when people are registering for any online course or e-learning course, they can just request for a virtual lab, because a lot of help and lot of time goes in setting up the student environment on their machine. So what we have done is just given them virtual lab access. So if they request for it, they get the virtual lab with all the setups for that particular course ready for them for that duration. So this is the knowledge center that we have developed. So mostly all the e-learning material we have developed in-house. So all the, as I said, we are actually trying out different things. We are looking at what happens globally and trying to imitate it locally, customizing it. So what we are doing is creating our own e-learning material. It may not be a complete video recording for all the courses, but we start with PPT, notes, links, assignments, virtual lab, quizzes, practice tests, and so on. So that is one e-learning material, and person can take it at any time. So there are regular online courses like this. For all courses we have this. Then the same course can be offered in the massive online course. So if we see that a course, particular course is really popular, we offer it as a massive online course. So for ELTP also this time we actually tried a sort of blended learning. In the sense, we offered the online material before they join. So when we have a lot of people, hundreds of people joining from college, out of college. So for them, we usually run program, the ELTP for 2 months, 3 months program. And we start with the basic training, so basic technology training. Some things they have already learned in the past, but we still teach them. So this year what we thought was, we will give them the online material for basic training even before they join the company. And then before they join, we will just take the test. Now again, this is an experiment. So first test we thought we saw only 20% people pass. Right? Then we increased the help, and then second test now 50% people have passed. So now we will conduct the entire basic training for 50%. And then again they will go through the test. So we are trying out the blended part for the campus portal. So this is our home page where a person can actually draw a self-learning path for himself or herself. So there are choices, as I said, and then they can put their plan for what they want to go through. They want to do self-learning, or they want to do in-class training, or they want to do direct assessment, day-long assessment, and earn the credits. So that's how it is organized. So this is one data point I have got. So first is classroom trainings, which is again traditionally we have been running 70% of our courses in the classroom. The last one is regular online courses. Now you can see that the regular online courses people don't take on their own. Okay, so because they always procrastinate. But then online assessments they are taking, and when we introduce massive online courses, this is just 2 quarters data, whereas the classroom trainings is year-round data. So massive online courses were introduced 2 quarters back. So it is catching up. A lot of people are actually enrolling for massive online because it's combination of self-learning as well as compound learning. So there is a push also, but then there is a flexibility also. So that is catching up. And this is effectiveness feedback that we have collected for the massive online courses. So they are giving a pretty decent feedback. So that's what I have in terms of the things that we are doing at Persistent.